Hurricane, a tidal wave, essence perfect, life looks brilliant, give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're burying me, burying me. Yeah, you're burying me, burying me. You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. Whoa, I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Everyone is watching me when I'm coming around. They all are judging me when I'm lying on the ground. I've got no shelter, I've got no escape. My life is a prison and I can't run away. I feel it in my bones, I'm losing it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Taking Over. I am All That Ed Fries, and I am joined by the one and only, the natural astridpizarro. Astrid, how you doing today?
I don't have words to in this episode didn't help me.
No,
How are
this
you?
episode did not help with the negative feelings. Speaking of positive feelings, our friend Chris Parrish jumping in saying, best NXT duo in the game. We try our best. We may not be the best, but we do what we can to make it happen. We got our good friend Bobby Munson jumping in and saying, hello, my friends. Hello, Mr. Munson. Thank you both for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and start where the show started off. Noam Dar attacked backstage in the second worst acting performance of the day since Madam Web dropped on Netflix this morning.
Damn, we're going right at it.
I mean,
I don't blame you though. I
Madam
don't
Web
blame
dropped
you.
on Netflix. Nothing can be as bad as that.
I haven't
I
seen
know
a
there's
second
some
anything.
contention with female-led superhero movies and whether or not men or women, how they view these things. But we all came together as a superhero community to all say that Madam Web fucking sucked. The critics didn't like it. The people who went to go pay to go see it didn't like it. Nobody liked it. So we can safely say that no matter what Noam Dar did tonight, and none of it was good, it was all the second worst poorest acting of the day.
Yeah, that's very true.
But the question is, who attacked Noam Dar? Instantly, they're blaming Trick Williams, and Lash goes, it wasn't Trick. And they'll go, how do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's because she was backstage with Trick Willy Wonka, probably. That's how she knows. You don't understand that reference? You catch last week's show.
That's very true.
Who do you think? Now do you think the reveal at the end of the show was the person who attacked Noam Dar in the beginning of the show?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, to be honest, if it did happen. But at the same time, I was like, why no I'm done with them? I guess I missed that part.
I have a way to make all this make sense, and it actually takes into account things we've said before. And I think that there's a fun storyline way that you can do this, where this makes even more sense than people understand. And we'll get to that when we get to the end of the show. But remember this, it's tease. I have thoughts. But next, we get a recap of the women's combine. We get a recap of who was on the top 12 of the leaderboard. And NXT gives us something tonight that I wish they would have given us last week when they announced it. They give us all 6 qualifying matches as opposed to just the 2 we knew about last week. So tonight, we're going to get Izzy Dame versus Sol Ruca. We're also going to get Ivy Nile versus Lash Legend. On top of that, the rest of it looks like this. Kalani Jordan is taking on Ren Sinclair. Mia Yim / Meechin, whatever you want to call her, will take on Tatum Paxley. Jada Parker will be taking on Brindley. We'll talk more about those 2 later in the show. And Fallon will take on Thea. Again, why? Well, who knows why? Reasons.
Very much reasons.
There's no earthly idea why Fallon and Thea was not in the ladder match. And some of these matches weren't reworked. Obviously, they have stories they want to tell. I think it would have been a whole lot more fun to tell the Fallon and Thea story inside the ladder match. Speaking of Izzy and Sol Ruca, we get Sol and Izzy both cutting promos. Well, Izzy didn't cut a promo so much as Kiana James cut a promo for Izzy Dame. And Izzy just said yes a lot. So Ruca cuts a halfway decent promo, and then she goes ahead and walks on her hands from all the way backstage around the corner and about a quarter of the way down the ring ramp towards the ring. Now, I get it. I'm a fat guy. I can't do any of this. But that's still impressive to me. Like the amount of distance she covered walking on her hands. But with effortlessly. It looked like it was effortless to her. She just kind of cruised. It wasn't like small steps here and there. It was like boom, 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 like she was walking in normal. On her
My favorite part, no, it's when she looks at the camera, she goes, back up, I need space to do this. And then she's doing it. When she started doing it, I was like, what is she doing? And then it started happening, I was like, oh, I see you. And I was like, yeah, I can't do this. So it's impressive for me.
Paris saying Sol Ruca is the next gem in the women's division. She's crazy athletic and she's starting to get it. I agree. We were heavily invested in all of the Sol Ruca stuff before the injury when they wrote her off with the Blair Davenport attack, but obviously the real life injury that she had sustained otherwise. You know, we were very happy with her. She has a finishing move that, as we're now seeing, it's not just set up in the corner, do finish move. It's now, like Randy Orton, out of nowhere.
Yes.
Speaking of that, we get that first match. But first, I do have to pick on Izzy Dame. They need to rework her graphical design for her name card on the big board. Those Z's are what Izzy Dame does to me when I watch her work. The eyes are barely visible, and all you see are these massive Z's. No, we have to rework this. She is not the sleepy lady. Again, we'll talk about her later. Lots of teasing in this episode. Ashley, though, what did you think of now that I've picked on Izzy Dame a bit? I'm happy. NXT did a really good job tonight of telling me which one's Izzy Dame and which one's Carmen Petrovic. I now know the difference.
How do you know the difference now?
Because Izzy Dame is the one who wears green.
I legit told you that not too long ago.
The one who hangs out with Natalia is Carmen.
I said the green, the one that like this, and the green is Izzy. The other one's Carmen.
Yes, I know, but NXT did a really good job of making me understand that tonight somehow.
Okay, fine.
No. I mean, NXT did a really good job of separating the two tonight and giving them different personalities as opposed to random generic blonde number 4. Ironically, we have a new random generic blonde number 4 later on.
I was gonna say you got Carlee later. That doesn't help at all.
We'll get to her.
Yeah.
Actually, what do you think of this opening match?
Again, this is more to me a highlight of Soul, and like you said, having her finisher be out of nowhere, literally at the moment, because it looks so impressive the way she does it, and to be able to do it wherever she does it is just incredible. So that's my favorite part of this whole match. It's like there's nothing else to it aside from the fact that we get to Soul. She gets a little bit more time to show off herself and showcase herself in her finisher the way she did it. I'm glad she did it in a different way, and definitely shows that she can obviously literally put it out of nowhere. So I feel like it's gonna show something different rather than when we see her in the corner. We're like, oh, it's happening now. It's gonna be less telling for us now. So I think it's better that way.
Like, it happened in the corner still, but it happened in a completely different set of circumstances than it normally does, which I thought was interesting. A couple weeks ago in the Blair Davenport match that we heavily criticized because of the beach gimmick, we liked the match itself. We just thought the beach gimmick was annoying. But when she pulled that out on the middle, just in the middle of the rope thing, and did the exact same setup and finish, it's proven that we're going to start seeing her do this literally out of nowhere. What I can't wait for is her in a multi-person match like this ladder match, where she does this in somebody's hands. Like somebody has their hands out and she walks on their hands, flips, and hits somebody else with this finish. The other thing I want to talk about is I liked Izzy Dame's aggressiveness in this match. Izzy Dame, I like Sol Ruca. We love Sol Ruca. She did really good. She did exactly what she needed to do. She didn't impress me in this match. Izzy Dame did. Izzy Dame was very impressive in this match. I normally, like I say, fall asleep during the Izzy Dame's matches because the two big Z's put me to sleep. But no, Izzy did a real good job here. She wrestled like a heel. She did the Healy type things. She threw her on top of the commentary desk. You know, she did all the little nasty, dirty heel things to try to get an advantage and still end up losing, which is fine because she's further away from where she needs to be than where Sol Ruca is. Sol Ruca's ready right now to, if they needed her to take the title off of Roxanne Perez. Whereas Izzy Dame is still going to need time to even be ready for that North American Women's Championship. So we'll get there as we get there. Oh boy. We then get Ava and the family arguing. The D'Angelo family.
D'Angelo family, not this D'Angelo family.
Yes, not this D'Angelo family, but the other D'Angelo family. Yes. I had to do it at one point in the show. You knew it was coming. You even set me up.
I could tell.
He asks about what happened with the missing referee and that there's no reason that they can do this. Like, he wasn't missing. He had bronchitis. It was highly contagious. We helped him out. Sure. She then asks about the whereabouts of Damon Kemp and Miles Bourne, to which they go, we don't know. And as Stack says, and I quote, they are wherever they wanted to be.
If it was just Damon, I would have just said, you can just keep him wherever he is, and I wouldn't mind him not coming back ever, but we have Miles involved in there, which is a different story.
His brother is no longer coming back, so, I mean, we got rid of one. We're halfway there. She then says that I think I'm going to take this Heritage Cup match away from you, to which Tony goes, no, you don't want to do that. And Rizzo's like, you don't want to go ahead and do false advertising, to which lawyer man, Luca, our man Luca pipes up. And it's like, no, there is no false advertising in wrestling because wrestling always has 4 words underneath every wrestling match graphic thing that's ever been created. Card subject to change. It is the 4 words that save wrestling promoters across the world from false advertising. Card subject to change. People don't show up. Things have to change. I mean, hell, look at the King and Queen of the Ring tournament. Half the people who were announced in the tournament did not participate in that tournament.
That tournament is cursed. It is.
What's more cursed, the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships or the King and the Queen of the Ring this year?
I think the tag titles because they've been cursed a little bit longer and it's happened more times.
But she finds him 20,000, to which she talks to Stax and Rizzo and Luca, and they hand her a bag of what I assume to be $20,000 in cash. I wish I had a friend who had a bag of cash that I could just get $20,000 worth of cash from. That'd be nice. I don't. But he gets to keep his Heritage Cup Championship match. We move on to backstage segment number 2 of the evening. Well, 3, if you count the poor Noam Dar acting that started the show. Edris, Enofe, and Malik Blade. They talk about they have a big match tonight against the Good Brothers. Idris Enofe is stroking his rabbit's foot. Has to be clear, he was stroking his rabbit's foot.
Oh, please
So
don't
his
say that
friendly
again.
comes in and throws away his white rabbit's foot and says that you don't need this. And they go out to the ring. I really wish you would have let him keep the rabbit's foot.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk more about that in a moment. OTM makes their way to the ring, but first, when we come back from commercial break, Lola and Shayna are backstage getting interviewed. And I have a quote here from Sarah Schreiber. And I'm sorry, Sarah, you had a bad night backstage tonight. You and commentary all. Nobody on putting over stories in this show had a good night. But she talks about Shayna coming off her big win on NXT last week against Carmen Petrovic. Yes, a big win against Carmen Petrovic. Let's ignore the fact that last night she lost to Io Sky in the Queen of the Ring tournament on Raw. Let's ignore that because that doesn't tell the story we want to tell. While they're getting ready to do their thing, Carmen and Natty attack. Segment ends. Thank God. We then get to OTM versus Enofe and Blade. This was a match. It started. It went on far too long. It had way too much of Brindley and Jada Parker. And then mercifully finally ended.
They have more of the girls in the match itself. And no scripts in sight either.
Well, that is because Scripps is not, his contract is, he's not been released. His contract is not being renewed. And he is cleaned out his locker and is probably no longer going to be seen on NXT television. We wish him the best in all his future endeavors. At least he didn't get released. He's going to keep getting paid, which is nice. And once the contract runs out, he can go wherever he wants right away, as opposed to having to wait 30 or 90 days. So it might be better because he can field these offers now while he's waiting and be ready to go on television somewhere else if anybody wants him as soon as his contract expires. Okay. The match was fine, but way too much of Brindley and Jada. If you were going to do this much Brindley and Jada, you should have just done Brindley and Jada tonight.
Agreed.
I don't care about OTM versus Blade and Enofe. I don't care about Blade and Enofe anyways. They're more of a joke in my notes than they are as a real deal in a tag team. By the way, I give Booker and Vic credit for trying to put this over as an important match in the tag team division. Oh, boy. I will say, OTM is getting better. They're looking better and better. Their offense is looking more and more intense. However, they have a bigger, better version of them in TNT coming up. And I'm waiting for the inevitable match between the mirror match between OTM versus TNT. It's just 4 guys who basically do all the same shit.
I thought about the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah.
I hate it.
OTM wins this match because Malik Blade's boot comes undone. Malik, why do you have... No, I'm sorry. Idris Enofe's boot comes undone. Idris, why do you have a Velcro boot? I thought all pro wrestlers had boots that had ties for the specific reason that this doesn't happen in a wrestling match.
Wow.
I was very glad when this match was finally over.
Me too.
We have Dar backstage, still doing more terrible acting. He obviously watched Madam Web earlier today, but Oro Mensah says that he's going to take on Javon Evans tonight. Meanwhile, they're trying to figure out why Lash is so certain that it's not Trick Williams, but Lash hears Ivy Nile's music and says, "My match is next. Jakara, are you coming?" To which Jakara slowly leaves Noam Dar's side. We then get Ridge and unknown random dude talking to Naxium when the Good Brothers come in and start picking on Ridge Holland for being a main roster guy, a main roster, in their terms, loser, who's at NXT who needs to go home. I really need a mirror to put it in front of the Good Brothers to show them what two main roster losers that need to go back to the main roster look like.
I was about to say, I think they need a mirror, if anything. And then he said,
I love, now mind you, this is at the expense of the Good Brothers, but I love the fact that they're so naively dumb about this, that they don't notice that this is a bad thing, and it's poor storytelling that's funny at the expense of the Good Brothers, that they're so unnecessary in this company, that they're only there to keep AJ Styles happy. The only reason these two were, I swear, the only reason these two were employed is because AJ Styles wants them employed. I mean, it doesn't help that no other company wants them anymore. But the challenge is put out for the Good Brothers to take on Ridge and a partner of his choosing. I thought he was going to choose random dude who he was talking to. He did not. Then we get Lash Legend versus Ivy Nile. Astrid, what do you think of this match?
I liked it, though. I think especially because the fact that we had a moment that Ivy is countering the chokeslam that Lash has in the corner into a bulldog, and that looked pretty nasty the way it happens. And the way she has a submission, I knew at that moment, obviously, because when she started doing the submission, she backed up a little bit too much towards Jakara, and I was like, waiting for her. Okay, she got involved. There we go. Okay, that's what I was waiting for. And then, of course, we have Lash winning. That's the only thing. I was like, the timing of it, when she started backing up a little bit too much towards the ropes, it's like, yep, waiting for Jakara to get involved in here. It's happening. Okay, got it. And it's like one of those things that you already expected. But I feel like they had a good chemistry in the match in here. And it's one of those, like, it doesn't have to be too long either. I feel like with Lash, you don't need a long match or anything like that. So it makes sense the way it happened tonight.
Yeah, I thought this match did exactly what it needed to do. It put Lash Legend over as a big deal. It made Ivy Nile look like a dummy. A real big dummy. Like, the biggest of dummies. Like, why were you moving into that corner? Why? In kayfabe, why would you ever go to that corner to do the submission hold? You're supposed to be Ivy Nile, the smart one. You're in a program with the Alpha Academy. Come on. Get your shit together, Ivy Nile. Lash wins. I pray she does not win that damn championship ladder match. I have a bad feeling. Javon Evans is backstage. He's asked if he did it. He says he didn't and then walks away. Nice, Javon.
Why?
I'm so glad we needed this backstage segment for Javon to defend himself.
It's like him of all people. Why him? I don't get it.
We then get a backstage program. So I'll be honest. I nodded off a bit here after Javon stopped talking, and I woke up hearing Carlee Bright talking, and apparently she wanted a match with Lola Vice. I just saw a random blonde girl, and they called her Carlee Bright, so that's what I wrote down. I wrote it down wrong because I wrote it down Carley as opposed to two E's, because why would we give her a normal spelt name when we can give her a dumb one?
Of course not. Copyright.
We then get, is there anything else to this promo other than her basically just asking for a match?
Well, before she comes in, Ava's about to go into her office. When she shows up, asks for the match, and you can see somebody opening the blinds from Ava's office, and it's Tatum. And Tatum posted the picture on Twitter. It's like, hey, Ava, And it's like, no wonder my office stinks or whatever. It's what she replied to her. Um, but they keep talking, like not even looking that Tatum's in the background kind of thing. And then that just ends that way. It's like, yeah, it's like if you would have done a little bit better in the combine, you were almost in the top 12. You were 13. So I think if you would have done faster on this, it would have been better and you would have been in the top 12. It's like, well, I really want the match with Lola. I'm like, why Lola though? I'm like, even just like keep it taking out the story, like, why would I want to go against Lola for people? Beats me, but okay. And she goes, yeah, I just want to go against Lola. And you see Ava kind of debating him. And she's like, okay, I'll give you the match against Lola. And then they both leave.
Fine. Javon Evans beats Oro Mensah in a match that was somewhat entertaining, but less entertaining than most of Javon's other matches because Oro Mensah.
Mm-hmm.
I hate picking on metaphor. I mean, no, I love picking on metaphor, but I also hate it at the same time. Like, I think there's something there with Oro Mensah. He's actually talented. But the fact that he has to play the buffoon in this group makes it less interested in anything he has to do.
It just reminded me that how I enjoyed him when he debuted and what we like, how much we liked him. We're like, oh, this is so cool. We love what he's doing. And all of a sudden he's with Metaphor. So like we see him wrestle less now because he's part of the group. He's usually the one helping or helping Noam Dar win, but he's not wrestling though often. So it's like when I see him today, I was like, dang, I miss this guy wrestling. I miss him by himself. I really do. I was like, yeah, do I like the comedy they bring up? Yeah, I do. It's okay most of the time. But it just made me miss him as a singles competitor more than anything. I was like, why? I want to see you by yourself. Look at this. It's like, and you can see more from him, but obviously he's just being like part of the group. So he has his moments of Jakara comes in and she distracts the referee. And here comes Lash with the chair, but then Trick is like, no, I'm right here. Don't use it, and getting her head about it. But more than anything, all I could think of was I like Javon. I don't want him here. And then second, I want Aura by himself again. That's all I could think of as much as happening.
It's a fun match. It's a fine match, but all the fucking metaphor bullshit makes it entirely less interesting. And that's unfortunate because I think Javon Evans has a future and he's toning down the high flying crazy stuff a little bit each time we see him. He's not cutting it out. He's not taking it out of his repertoire, but he's kind of molding more other things into his wrestling as opposed to just being bouncy, as he calls it. I really hate that phrase. I'm not young and hip enough for the bouncy.
When he said it, I went, that's all you could say. Bouncy.
I don't pass that vibe check. Again, I'm not hip enough to say that either. Speaking of a man who's less hip than I am, we got Charlie Dempsey talking about his main event match with Tony D'Angelo. He says he doesn't know where the other guys are, and it doesn't really matter because he's still going to win. We'll see how that goes for you, Charlie, later on tonight. We then have something I normally don't talk about when it's WWE did their Love Has No Labels promotion, which is great. I love this. However, it would have really been good if it wasn't in the same commercial break as a promotion for the fucking Saudi show. You can't put Love Has No Borders in the same commercial break as we're going to collect our blood money check from the Saudi government. It's a bad look, WWE. Fix it. All you have to do is put them in two separate, different commercial segments, and nobody will notice. And I love the Love Has No Labels, Love Has No Borders promotion. That's a great commercial. And it's got Sonya Deville, and it's got a whole bunch of other people who really get behind this program. And I believe that Triple H wants to do things like this with Love with No Borders. And he's stuck with the Saudi deal. I also know that when the Saudi deal comes up again, he's going to sign another one because the shit makes them so much goddamn money that they don't have to think about money anymore. It's not good, but that's where we are. Love it or hate it, that's what we're stuck with. They're going to keep doing these awful Saudi shows because blood money is very big money. We then get Wesley. Now I have lots of notes for this.
Ooh.
This is my largest note section of the entire show. So let me go through this, and then Astrid, you can kind of give your thoughts as we go. If you have someplace, interrupt me. Let me know to stop. Wesley talks about how much the North American title meant to him. He talks about how much he missed this. How he was supposed to be out for an entire year, but came back in 6 months. And he starts getting emotional or forgetting his lines. I can't tell which, because he wasn't crying like he was the night he gave up the title, but he also didn't know what the next line was to tell Obafemi to come out either. So I don't know which it is, if he was getting emotional or he was just waiting for Oba to come out and missed the cue. Either way, Oba does come out, and he talks about how impressed he is with all the work that Wesley did for the North American Championship. He talks about how now he needs to sit back and watch the heights that Oba's going to take this North American Championship to. I liked that pun. That was good. The heights, because Wesley's little itty bitty man. Obafemi, big man. I like the whole heights thing. He also says, I am the mountain that you can't climb. I am the mountain that you can't conquer. Wesley says that Oba checks every box needed to be a champion, and he starts listing the boxes. And Wesley says, I may not check as many boxes, and then out comes Ivar, to which I'm like, shit, I really wished he would have missed the cue there, because I really wanted to see what the next fucking line was for Wes, because he was on a roll there. And then Wish.com fucking American badass Undertaker Ivar comes walking out. And he talks about how him and Wesley had the same back surgeon because they had a similar injury. And he shouts out the doctor, who I don't care about what the doctor's name was. And he talks about how he had to fight, all the fighting he had to do to get back to getting opportunities. To which I thought about, and I go, what fucking opportunities and fights is he talking about? Did all of this take place on Main Event? Because I sure as hell didn't see it. Meanwhile, we continue. As he's talking about all of that, Briggs brings himself out. And I'm like, now I'm really irritated with this segment. I really just want the segment between Obafemi and Wesley, because that was really good. All this other shit has been bad. And guess what? Josh doesn't make it any better. Josh runs down Ivar. He runs down Wesley. And he says how close he came to beating Obafemi with broken ribs. To which I go, but you still lost the match. Not only did you lose the match, you were the guy who got pinned in the match. Like, at least Dijak could say, I didn't get pinned, I didn't get beaten. Josh, you got pinned and beaten. So Wesley and Oba goes, oh, look at all these contenders. This is all a big deal. And Wesley goes, well, then you should make it a fatal four-way. And Obafemi's like, ha, 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 dumb.
Hell no.
He's like, no, that's not what we're going to do. That's what you would do. And that's why you're a dummy and you lost 6 months of your career. I'm going to go ahead and stand on the outside of the ring and tell the three of you to figure this the fuck out so I can go back and sit in my little box and watch. Obafemi is fantastic. Obafemi is the best guy in this entire package. There are 4 people here. Wesley's the second best. And it's only the second best because I really, really love Obafemi. What did you think of this?
Oh, gosh. At first, I was fine with just the part of Wes and Oba. And I was like, yeah, we want to see this. Obviously, Wes lost the title. Oba has it. We all want to see this. That David and Goliath kind of story. Fine. And Ivar comes out, I'm like, but didn't you lose already? I don't know. It's like, why are you here? Fine. Just get in there. And then Josh comes out and was like, but why you too? It's just like, didn't you lose too? What's your claim to this? Because to me, Wes is the only person that has a claim because he never lost a championship. The other two, they literally lost. You're done. Back of the line. See ya. It should be Wes at the front, and that's it. And all of a sudden, it just made me laugh when he does come up and he says, "Oh, like the four of us, we'll make it like a multi-man match because that's what West used to do." And then Obafe is like, not on the my watch. This is my reign. It's different from yours. No, you'll battle it out. Whoever wins goes against me. See you." And that just literally just made me burst out because I was thinking if it was West, would have been like, "Yeah, we're gonna do a fatal four-way elimination match, and it'll be that kind of multi-man match that we always used to get with West." But
Yeah.
Oba's like, "No, I'm the champion. I call the shots. You guys first, then me. Goodbye." And it's like it made me like as I was thinking, it seems very heelish of him at the same time to do that to kind of back out and let them handle it. Because I just kept thinking like, yeah, if it would have been a face, he would have definitely taken everybody at once in that fatal four-way match. So I think that would just made me laugh. Just listen to the back and forth they have with each other. But again, it's like I like this part. I wish this promo would have been just was talking about his journey without everybody else getting involved. Because I would like to hear from West himself, and that's it. And it's like maybe Oba towards the end to set up the match, but that was it. The other two, I like them, but I could have done without them in the segment. I would have liked West to be that focus here. It's the first time we hear from him since the injury, since the return. I would have liked to hear a little bit more than what we heard tonight from him. That would have been the only thing, rather than what we had hearing him getting interrupted 3 times at this point. So that's the only thing I would have done differently there.
Yeah, I love. In any other vein, Oba would be looked at as a chicken shit heel. But Oba's like, no. We're not doing this whole multi-man thing. I'm more than happy to take on whomever you throw at me. I don't care who it is. I'll defend this title as much as you tell me to. But you give me one person at a time, and I beat one person at a time.
Yep.
And that makes sense to me. It's not silly. It's not chicken shit. It doesn't make him the biggest heel in the company. It
makes him smarter.
Smart. He's like, why should I do what Wesley did? Why should I defend my title against every person who says I want a match? He's like, no, you earn a match. He even told Wes, the guy who used to have the title, who shouldn't have to earn it. He's like, you earn a match. Then things start going downhill fast. Ridge Holland is about to go out to do the match solo, just like he did against Gallows. When Andre Chase comes up, and Ridge is like, great, Andre, you and I will team. He's like, no, it's not what I was thinking. You're going to go ahead and team with Mr. Blair Davenport back here. Mr. Blair Davenport's going to be your tag team partner. Otherwise known for everybody else as Riley Osborne. But in my notes, he's written as Mr. Blair Davenport. Riley does not look impressed. He does not look happy, but goes to put on his ring gear. We then have an entirely black screen during a promotion that apparently Astrid missed. The whole screen is black, and all we hear is snoring. And then an alarm clock goes off. She's coming. She's coming back. Astrid's getting back in the ring.
I'm waking up pretty soon.
You've taken, God knows you've taken way more than enough time. Think about it. The person who attacked you is on fucking Raw now. That's how much time you took. She's on
I thought
Raw.
she was on SmackDown.
I don't care. She's somewhere. She's on the main roster. Raw, SmackDown, it don't matter. They're not going to do anything with her, right? Anyways, it doesn't matter.
I just want her to come out and do like a big stretch, like extra big. So she just woke up from the longest nap she's had. Please do that.
We then get Lexis King, and the only person I recognized in this group was Dion Lennox. There are 3 other people in this group. I think one of them might have been Ren Sinclair, but I don't know.
No, the other one was Uriah Finlay in the next to him.
Oh, okay. I don't give 2 shits about that guy, especially with the way they pronounce his name.
Uriah.
Brogan.
Yeah. Brogan.
Anyways, none of them matter because this is all a promo for fucking Jasmine Nix and Lexis King, where Jasmine's trying to get people to sign a get well card for JC Jane. To which random girl in the front goes, why would I do that? And walks away. And random girl number 2 follows her. Dion follows behind them. And apparently Brogan Finley or Uriah Connors, I believe his name is. I think that's the NXT name generator name that they gave him. That's the one he gets. So they all walk away. And Lexis is like, don't worry about them. They're silly. I'll go ahead and sign Jamie's card. And she's like, no, the name's JC. He's like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's no big deal. You know, you don't worry about them. And he's trying to basically hit on Jasmine next, which is funny because his girlfriend just got her ass shit canned from the company. So you think he wouldn't be hitting on people on television. But, you know, Lex is king. Also, great Mama Fries reference here. Mama Fries looks at me and goes, they really need to take it easy on the spray can facial hair that they have for him. And I go, that's not spray can, that's real. That's his real facial hair. To which he goes, excuse me? I'm like, yeah, he posts a picture every week when he gets back from the barber. It's legit. He does that to himself. It's real homegrown hair. She goes, it looks stupid as fuck. And I go, I agree. But that's what he does. Somewhere in here, he also goes ahead and signs the card for JC Jane, but he signs it. Do I have the name written down? I don't have the name he wrote down.
Janice or something like that. It's very similar to her name.
It was similar, but definitely wasn't the right name. Yeah. To which Jasmine goes, what the fuck? And then she walks away. Oh, God. They're going to make Lexus a big deal, aren't they?
I was enjoying him the first couple of weeks, but at this point, I'm just like, eh. I'm okay without him.
We then get Riley and Ridge taking on the Good Brothers, and this is about as good as a Good Brothers match can be, which means it was bad. I mean, it's not Riley's fault. It's not even Karl Anderson's fault. This match had two anchors on it. It had Luke Gallows and Ridge Holland. Two reasons not to give one shit about this match. You know what match I would actually watch and thoroughly enjoy? Karl Anderson versus Riley Osborne. That singles match would be really good. You know what else I want to see? I want to see Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson break up. Because I want to see Karl Anderson with a singles push. Because I've seen him wrestle singles stuff. He's really good at being a singles wrestler. And Luke Gallows is a fucking anchor that nobody gives a shit about. But Karl Anderson would get over so well as either a shitty heel or as a babyface if he's by himself. Especially if he kept cutting promos about his hot Asian wife. And again, that's not me saying something about his wife. Those are the exact words he calls her on social media and interviews about her. That is how he refers to her in all of his correspondence with anybody. So that is how we talk about Karl Anderson's wife in real life. This is not a Sky Blue situation where we're talking about something like that. This is Karl Anderson's own chosen moniker for his wife. I will not get canceled for this one. Also, speaking of people who won't get canceled, hi, Papa Smokes. How you doing, buddy? We appreciate you jumping in here. What did you think of this match? I didn't talk about the match. I talked about things I wanted to see other than the match. Because I didn't like it.
Yeah, I was like, it was a match that didn't happen. I like how, like as in funny, that they want to have Ridge Holland be like the hot tag, but he doesn't have the reaction for the hot tag. Like when he got tagged in, I went, oh no, he's supposed to be the hot tag, isn't he?
I mean, he had a good hot tag, just nobody gives a shit emotionally about him.
That's what I mean. Like there was no reaction to it. But I'm like, if it was somebody else, people would have been so happy that he was probably in the match. But no, it was that quiet when it was happening, and I felt bad. It's like
I feel bad for him because he had a great hot tag in this match. Like when he got the hot tag and ran wild, it was good. He didn't do poorly. It looked fun. It was high intensity. It was big power, big speed. It was great. It was a good hot tag. But nobody gives a shit about Ridge Holland, so we didn't give a shit about the hot tag.
No.
And that's the problem that we have with this. It's not Ridge's fault. It's not NXT's fault. And honestly, it's hard to blame Ridge even more in this match because, like I said, I thought it was a really good hot tag. Riley built to it really well. There were really good spots with it. Him and Karl Anderson had such good chemistry. Again, I just want that singles match because I think Karl could teach a lot to Riley Osborne. while they're two different guys, I think that Karl Anderson would be the epitome of a great gatekeeper. NXT has always had gatekeepers. People that are stuck in NXT when they should be doing something better, but they stay there just a little longer to make sure that the next generation that goes up is ready for it. Tyler Breeze, Tyson Kidd, Cassius Ohno, Adam Cole, Ricochet. They were all kind of, now granted, Adam Cole and Ricochet were top of the card, but they were gatekeepers to an extent. Mm-hmm. And if you want to know, if you wanted me to give you an example of somebody who Adam Cole gate kept to make sure they were a big deal, I have 3 letters for you. HIM. There's nobody else. The list of people who Adam Cole gate kept for NXT to make sure they were ready for what they were about to do, the entire list starts and ends with Carmelo Hayes.
It was ruthless aggression.
It was ruthless aggression part 2. But no, Karl Anderson, I think, would make a great gatekeeper. I think there's a lot of good Karl Anderson can do by himself without Luke Gallows. Luke can go do shitty podcasts. Because Lord knows. Now, theirs is called Talking Shop, right? That's their shitty podcast. And then Andre and Mel have a good one called Chop Talk. There are 2 different things here, and I want to make sure I differentiate which one's bad and which one's good. We then have Carlee Bright versus Lola Vice. Oh boy. Can I take this one? I know I've talked about it. I have thoughts.
Go right ahead. I know you drank your Haterade, so I'm just letting it get off your system.
I did drink some Haterade today. I'm still drinking my Haterade. It's very hot. I'm very tired, and I really didn't want to do this review tonight.
I'll let it get it off your system.
Carlee Bright. This is Carlee's TV debut. Vic Joseph then says that Carlee Bright has never taken on an opponent like Lola Vice. To which I say, Vic, did you not watch the promo package that you gave for Carlee Bright 15 minutes ago, where there's literally footage of her wrestling Lola Vice? There's actual fucking footage.
That's her twin. You didn't know that?
What?
I was going to say that's Lola's twin.
I don't care. I don't care. It was on Level Up. I never saw it. God knows I don't watch Level Up. But, like, she wrestled Lola Vice. She's obviously wrestled somebody like Lola Vice because she wrestled Lola Vice. Now, I'll tell you that the best person in this wrestling match was Carlee Bright. Because Lola Vice is still awful. I don't like Lola Vice. Don't think she's any good. I don't think she's getting it. And after she wins the match and she's shaking her ass, you literally see Shayna on camera tell her to stop. And I was just praying that Shayna would turn heel. I mean, she's already a heel, but I wanted her to turn heel again, which actually would be a babyface turn if you turn heel on Lola Vice. It's a babyface turn. However, Carmen Petrovic and Natty attack, and they make a tag team match. Carlee Bright has a future. She reminds me a little bit. She's not nearly as charismatic. She's not nearly as entertaining, and her wrestling isn't as crisp as the early days of Tiffany Stratton. But she's another gymnast like Tiffany Stratton. She got the blonde hair like Tiffany Stratton. There's some similarities here. I'm going to be very interested to see how Carlee Bright comes along in the future. Because I think of the 2 people in this wrestling match, she's the only one with a future in this company.
I think for this one, though, the only part that bothered me was that I think she did like a crucifix right away kind of thing to like pin Lola. And then Lola kicks out. And then instead of standing up, she like scoot herself up a little bit more to like catch her and do it again. And I was like, And I'm like, you could have done something a little bit more cooler in between there, so it didn't look so awkward. Of just like scooting up, doing it again, and trying again, as if like, why? It just felt kind of awkward, the timing of it though. But aside from that, I'm like, she definitely looked better than Lola did, and that's just, I don't want to say bad, but it's bad to think about when Lola has been wrestling a little bit longer probably than Carlee has.
It's an indictment on how bad we see Lola Vice. NXT sees dollar signs when they see Lola Vice. All we see is, oh God, get her off my fucking television screen.
Yep.
Riley apologizes to Ridge Holland for drop kicking him, which led to the end of that match. Yeah, by the way, the end of that match was Riley Osborne drop kicked Ridge Holland and he got pinned. I don't know if we mentioned that anywhere in the recap of the Good Brothers match. By the way, the Good Brothers also won that match. I don't know if we mentioned that either. Tells you how much we cared about that match. I cared more about talking about the greatness of Karl Anderson than I did talking about the match. We then get a recap of the Noam Dar stuff. And we get next week's rundown. Next week's rundown is Fallon Henley versus Thea Hale in a qualifier for the ladder match. Jada versus Brindley in a qualifier for the ladder match. That will be good. Those two matches will be good. I'm very excited for that. Lee versus Briggs versus Ivar is supposed to happen. We'll talk more about why that might not happen later. And the winner of that gets Oba Femi at Battleground. And then the tag team match between Natalie and Carmen and Lola and Shayna. It's going to be 3 more women's matches next week after we had 3 matches this week. NXT doing the NXT thing of telling a whole bunch of women's stories.
Mm-hmm. And
by the way, this is totally not even talking about who Roxanne's going to face at Battleground. By the way, the person who Roxanne's going to face at Battleground is Tatum Paxley. I'm almost 100% sure it's Tatum Paxley.
Yeah.
Oh, take a breath. Oh, all right. Ah, yes. The main event match. Tony versus Charlie. To which Booker starts this by saying that Mike Rome looks grumpy. I respond with, I would be too if I got demoted from SmackDown to NXT. Congratulations, Alicia Taylor. You deserve it. You're fantastic. I'm going to miss you every Tuesday night on NXT. I'm going to miss you when I go watch the NXT shows because you are fantastic. Mike, it's nice to see you. Thanks for coming. Does anybody have JoJo's number? Can we get JoJo back? Maybe JoJo needs a job. I know she's got some small kids, but I'm sure we can find some daycare in NXT, right?
Mike is nice. I'll tell you that at least.
Wendy Chu can watch the babies because she can sleep and they can all take a group nap.
Yeah. But aside from that,
again, I think Mike Rome's a fine guy, but he needs to pretend like he actually likes his job. Booker T wasn't wrong here. He needs to pretend like he fucking likes his job. I understand why he's irritated. I understand why he's pissed off. He just got demoted. That would make anybody a little bit bummed. However, professional wrestling, deal with it, buddy.
I was going to say, on the positive note on that end, it's nice to see 2 women being the ring announcers for Raw and SmackDown. Not only that, but 2 black women doing that as well.
I was going to say,
good on that. I love it.
It's great. I have no problem with Alicia Taylor being moved up. And honestly, I don't have a problem with Mike Rome being moved back down. I think Mike Rome's fine. Like, before Samantha Irving got here, Mike Rome was just fine. He was serviceable. He did the job. He was like a poor man's Tony Chimmel. Speaking of which, is Tony Chimmel available? What's he doing?
He was getting my ticket at Ring of Honor when I went the first time.
Tony Chimmel, we need you back in NXT. Can you come down here for a day? No? Tony doesn't seem like he's available.
I was going to say, no lie, he was the one getting my ticket when I went to Ring of Honor. My brother and I looked at each other, wait, we know him. And then fast forward, like, oh, yeah.
Apparently Tony Chimmel's fallen some hard times if he's doing and mind you, they could really use a good ring announcer. Oh no, they have Bobby Cruise for Ring of Honor. Bobby Cruise is great. I love Bobby. Yeah. They could replace Justin Roberts. Lord knows that guy is way over. So I don't like Justin Roberts. I never did. I was really happy when Daniel Bryan choked him with a tie.
Okay, moving on.
Anyways, Heritage Cup match. Tony gets a pin during round 1. Round 2 is done in the commercial break. In round 3, Dempsey's working on the arm and gets a pinfall in round 3. Round 4, nothing really happens. They go back and forth. Tony gets the better of Charlie Dempsey, but nothing really happens. He's about to pin him right at the time limit, but then the bell rings to end the round right at 2.
Yeah, and I don't know what round it was when Charlie has a submission and the timing runs out, so Tony's safe by the timer of it. I think it was round 2.
That's round 2 with the one that's good place during a commercial break.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. During round 5, Miles and Damon make their triumphant return. Or is it so triumphant? Because during the chaos of them making their return, Tony D'Angelo rolls up Charlie Dempsey 1, 2, 3, and somehow wins the Heritage Cup. The fuck? Like, seriously? I don't.
Maybe he paid the referee too.
Tony's got this right. Thank you, Tony, for jumping in. I greatly appreciate you stopping by. I'm sorry, but Tony D'Angelo is mid as fuck. I agree. I dig the character. The character work for Tony D'Angelo is great. His in-ring work was really good at one point, and then they made him a tag team guy, and God, did he fall off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He got lazy. His ring work feels lazy compared to what Tony D'Angelo was doing beforehand. The Tony before the tag team stuff and the injury and the stuff with Gallows was a hyper-aggressive heel who was willing to do anything. The work with Santos Escobar and LDF was absolutely magical. And right now he feels, as Tony says, mid as fuck. He's fine. And the fact that they just put the Heritage Cup on him for no reason. Like, do we not remember, what was it, 6 weeks ago when Charlie won this thing and they had that great promo between him and his daddy, William Regal, in the ring where he says, I'm going to defend this cup better than you ever would? And I was sure that we were going to get William Regal versus Charlie Dempsey at some big pay-per-view sometime this year. And now Dempsey lost. I don't know what the hell's going on there. I don't know why Tony D'Angelo needs the Heritage Cup. I really would have preferred if that had stayed with the Candy Crew. Or they're actually called the No Quarter Catch Crew. However, as the show's about to go off the air, Vic's going, hey, what's that? What's going on backstage? What's going on back? I'm like, I don't know, Vic. We can't see the camera. You can. We can't. But they finally cut the camera backstage. Josh Briggs is taken out. Wes Lee's taken out. Ivar's taken out. I'm like, man, Trick Williams did a lot of damage tonight, apparently. Because if Trick Williams did all this, it's bad. But no, it's not Trick Williams. It is, in fact, Mark Talks Wrestling's favorite people. Gallows is back. Gallows is back, raising hell, and I love it. I am so happy. It's a top heel for Trick Williams to work. Joe Coffey is a top-level heel that you can get months of programming out of with Trick Williams having to go through all of them. There's a lot of good that can come of this. And you ask, what is Joe Coffey going to do to earn the opportunity at the championship, right? Why does he just get to start attacking people to get this opportunity? Here's where the fun storytelling can be. He can get that opportunity from being one of the 3 guys. Him and his buddies were the ones who trained the final boss. As payment for getting The Rock WrestleMania ready, he gets the match of his choice. And his match is NXT Battleground Trick Williams versus Joe Coffey, main eventing that show. A top-level heel for Trick to work. We were talking last week about how mid it felt going from Ilya Dragunov all the way down to Noam Dar. I think Joe Coffey is the perfect top-level heel for Trick Williams to work because he's much higher regarded than Noam Dar. He feels like a threat. Why? Because he's got the numbers game, but he's got real numbers as opposed to Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson and Mensah, who's a joke at this point. I think there's a lot of good stuff that can come from having Gallus back in this spot. Plus, it lets me play the music and piss off lines. Which is always nice. And that was the end of NXT. It was, as Tony said, a very mid as fuck episode. There were some really good things. Okay, there were some good things. There were some good things on this show. There wasn't nearly as much as there should have been, but there were some good things on this show. A lot of people went out there and tried real hard. And speaking of people that try real hard, Astrid, where can we find you trying real hard this week? Because I know you got some big stuff coming up.
I keep thinking about what day it is. Tomorrow. I know. I keep looking at my calendar here on my laptop. Tomorrow I'm gonna be on the Greg Cherry show. I cannot never say that correctly because of my accent. I'm sorry. So you can go on his YouTube channel, which will be live at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And I think that's about it for this week. We do have some stuff that we're planning out because it's Mental Health Awareness Month. We did a stream last year, so we're hoping to do something similar this year. So more on that later on when we have details about it. I'm guessing by the way it goes, we'll probably have a King and Queen of the Ring post show, and more on that when we have the timing and the people to sign up to do this.
Next week, and I totally forgot that it's coming up real soon.
Yeah.
We got to get some guests for that.
So more on that happening soon. Other than that, again, you can find me again on Tuesday next week. I'll get NXT with this guy right here.
Where else can they find you on the Twitter sphere?
Oh, and my Emily J interviews on my YouTube channel, and the one from Jasmine Alonso on the Body Slam channel. And then you can find me in my Twitter and Blue Sky as astridpizarro, Instagram and Threads astridpizarro20, and that should be it, I think. Your turn.
If you want to buy more merch from www.shop.com, go ahead and support Astrid this way so you can get Astrid to WrestleMania, as she's already booked her hotel and she needs the money, folks. So if you can go ahead and buy some WWE merch, you can get all the same great merch at the same great price with the same great discounts, and a little bit of the back end will go back to Astrid. If you want to support Astrid a little bit more directly, you can go ahead and buy the Astrid Pizarro shirt from for your wear. So you can go ahead and go to this website, or you scan the QR code to look as wonderful as Mike the Ref up there in the top corner, or as darling as Miss Melball Collins up in the other corner. And of course, if you want to see the design a little bit more closely, here it is right here. As for me, you can go ahead and find me on Twitter at edfries12584. You can find me on the Twitch at twitch.tv/edfries2002. Tomorrow night, me and my other tag team partner, Andre C, are going to be reviewing the final 3 episodes of X-Men 97, Tolerance is Extinction, parts 1, 2, and 3. It has been a fantastic season. Episode 5 of this series, Disney has just handed in as an Emmy Award nomination piece for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Think about that. They've taken X-Men 97 is so good that they've taken an episode to try to get it an Academy Award. That's big praise from Disney to go ahead and put that out there. Oh, Papa Smokes, we appreciate you saying it was a great show. We try our best when we can. If NXT is better, we're better, but every now and then we do what we can. But if you want to go ahead and check out our previous shows, we just launched an episode of Talking Takeover last night, where we talked the debut of Kevin Owens, the immediate heel turn of Kevin Owens, Baron Corbin still doing squash matches, the debut of Finn Balor, the demon Finn Balor nonetheless. So we will see you guys all next time. Goodbye.
I'm never gonna look back, 'cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change, slowly take a step today.